This video is sponsored by Gelato. Sign up today and get up to 50% off your first order. I love traveling to Europe, and one of my favorite things to do is to visit museums and look at amazing paintings and artwork. So in this video, I'm going to make a beautiful hardcover book that showcases medieval, Renaissance, and Baroque artwork. Now, I'm going to be using Gelato, which is a print-on-demand service that integrates with Etsy, Shopify, and many other platforms like Wix and even TikTok. So here I make an awesome hardcover book, and I get it shipped to my house, and I'll walk through exactly what the cover and the interior of this beautiful book looks like. Let's jump in. All right, so when you first log into Gelato and you go to this product catalog link on the left-hand side, it's going to get you to the main page for all the different products. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to look for photo books, which is right here. And then you've got two choices. One is a soft cover photo book and one is a hardcover photo book. And I want to point out, they have lowered the price significantly on these books. So if you were looking before and maybe you were thinking, it's a bit too expensive, check this out. For a hardcover photo book, I simply click here. And now this gets me to the main page where I can pick my specs for what I would like my book to be. Now you're going to need to make a determination on if you want your orientation of the book to be vertical or horizontal, and this means portrait or landscape. Now in this case, I'm actually going to be selecting my size as 28 centimeters by 28 centimeters or 11 inches by 11 inches. That's actually a square book. So it doesn't really matter, but the default here is vertical for this. And then you're going to select the number of pages. Now when you do this, you're going to see the cost is going to change. So right now it says it's $22.92. I'm in Canada. And then I'm going to change the number of pages. I'm going to go up to 50, for example, and I can see now it's $32. 60 pages would get me to $37. So I'm actually going to run with a 60-page book, hardcover. And I'm just going to double check this one last time. I've got vertical orientation, 28 by 28, 60 pages, and I'm going to click Create Order on the right-hand side. Okay, and now this is going to get me to my page here where I can start designing. And this could be a little bit intimidating if you've never designed a book before, so I'll walk through what this looks like. You've got the book actually on the bottom, okay? You've got the cover, and then you've got the front inside, that's pages 0 and 1, which is the inside cover, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, and so on. You can actually scroll along and you can see all the different pages that are in there all the way up to page number 60. Now at any point you can change these specs. So if you're nervous about committing to the page count, do not fear. Here, for example, I've got number of pages, it says 60, but if I were to lower it to 46, for example, it simply just changes the number of interior pages down below. It doesn't really make it a huge difference in terms of designing. So don't be afraid to start off aggressive, and if I don't have enough artwork to fill, I can always lower that page count. You could also change the size as well. Here I could change it to 20 by 20, 21 by 28. You'll see that it updates in real time. I'm going to leave it here at 28 by 28, which is a square looking book. And then from here, I can start to design my book cover. So the first thing I'm going to do is make this black. So I'm going to click on shapes and I'm going to pick rectangle, and I'm just going to put my rectangle right like this. I'm just going to simply drag it along, and that's going to fill up the entire front and back cover. Next up, I'm going to put in some text. So I'm going to click on the text button here on the left-hand side, and I'm going to click Add Text. It's going to give me a nice sample text here, and I'm going to type in The Masters, and that's going to be the name of my book. So I'm going to put this right here, and then I'm going to have a little subtitle underneath. So I'm going to click Add Text. I'm actually going to make this a little bit smaller. So I'm going to change the text size here. I'm actually just going to put this down to 50. And here I've got Renaissance, Baroque, and Enlightenment art. I'm going to put that as my subtitle right there. Now, if you'd like to change the font, you just simply click the text box and you'll see a font drop-down menu that's listed right here. So right now it's defaulted to Open Sans. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to scroll on down and I can see there's lots of different fonts, tons and tons of different fonts to use. And anything with a little crown on it is a premium font, so you'd have to be a Gelato Plus member to use that. But I'm going to use Gelato Sans Bold. I really like the way that looks. I'm going to change that to Gelato Sans, not bold. I like the way that looks. Now, one thing I don't like is the spacing in between the and the word masters. So what I can do now is position this. I'm going to click on this button right here, spacing, and I'm going to move the spacing a little bit lowered there. So now here comes the fun part. We're going to put some pictures now in my book. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over here to Files, and I'm going to choose a file from my library. So I'm going to upload into this library. Okay, so I've uploaded my picture here. In this case, it's the Mona Lisa, and I can just drag it now right into my project. When I click on it, I can resize it. I can move it around. In this case, I'm going to move it right here into the middle of my book cover. And if you want to have it bleed right off the page, you could do that as well. So you could do something like this, make it nice and big to the point where it's right over top of the text. Now you can move this underneath the text. What you would do is go up here to the top and click on position, and then you could say move to back. Now because I have a black shape on my book, you would need to move that out of the way in order for the Mona Lisa to be visible. So I'm actually going to do this for my picture. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here, and I'm going to make this nice and big here. Now, as I do this, you're going to see the dots per inch over on the right-hand side right here. It says 115 dots per inch. It says medium, which is fine, but it is going to give me a warning. And actually, when I clicked on it, it's now given me a warning all throughout my book because I've actually got empty pages as well. So you may see this warnings pop up. You don't have to stress about that. It's not the end of the world. I'm simply going to click it so that it's over on the left-hand side. It's nested under warnings, which is right here. So if you want to look up any of the warnings you've got, you can simply toggle it right there. So I actually like this cover a lot without the black in the front. So I'm going to put it right like this. I think that looks really nice. Now here's another picture that I've uploaded by Leonardo da Vinci. I'm going to drag this in. Maybe you don't want the Mona Lisa to be the main image. Maybe you'd like this other image to be the main image. So there's all sorts of fun things you can do here, playing around and designing the book in real time. I think this is really neat. And you can be an artist and a creator rather than worrying so much about the technical aptitude piece of it. You can just drag and drop and resize things as needed. Another trick that you can do in a book cover that's kind of cool is you can take a piece of art and you can make it nice and big on the front cover, and then you can pick a shape, like a black shape, and you can push it down to the bottom half of the book. Now I'm going to push my black box here all the way to the back. I'm then going to push my Leonardo picture all the way to the back, and we can see now the book has the benefit of having a nice big cover and black on the front. So you could do that as well. It's just an artistic choice. I really like the way that looks as well. Sort of a teaser as to what's inside the book. Okay, so let's take a look now at the inside of the book. So I'm on page number 1, which is on the right-hand side. And what I can do now is figure out if I want my inside of my book to be white, black, or gray. I could just use these rectangles, for example, to make the inside of the book a different color if I wanted to. Basically what you're doing is you're inserting shapes or text or files inside the book. Now if you're working on a big book that's very complex, like what I'm working on, a 60-page book, you may want to save this so you can continue to work on it later. So I'm going to click here, Save as Template, and then I'm going to type in medieval hardcover photo book, and I'll click Save. So now if you're inside of Gelato at a later date and you'd like to continue working on this, you can simply go over here to the left-hand side, click on Templates, and we can see here is my book, and I can click on the little 3 horizontal dots and I can click on Edit. And now I'm back in my book and I can continue working on it. Okay, and I'm proud to announce that after some hard work here, I've got my 60-page book completely filled with Renaissance, Baroque, and Enlightenment art. So I've got my book cover sitting here. When I go to the inside page here, I've got a map, and then I've got my different pages inside my coffee table book. Now I want to point out, if you're working away on a certain type of design, so for example, page 2 and 3 here, I've got sort of a title page, you can copy this pretty easily. Just hover over the thumbnail, you'll see 3 horizontal dots. Click on them, and you can duplicate these 2 pages. So now I've got a duplicate. Page 4 and 5 are the exact same now as 2 and 3. So I could modify those now as needed. I could remove out these photos and I could put in other artwork. You can also just drag the thumbnail over if you wanted to move it, and you'll see now I've switched the thumbnail. So that's pretty easy to do. You can also just delete these pages as well. Simply click and delete. So it's pretty nice. You can maneuver through this book pretty quickly, and you don't need to be bound by your original intentions. You can grow the book, you can shrink the book. Okay, so I'm happy with the way this looks. And now I'm going to go up here to the top to this preview button, and it's going to show me exactly what this book is going to look like. You can see the left-hand side here is sort of the spine of the book. This is what it's going to look like. I did check my spelling. If you're an eagle-eyed viewer, you may have noticed I had a typo in there earlier, and I'm happy that that looks centered, and I love the font. Okay, so I'm very happy with the way this looks, and I'm going to go up here to the top right, and I'm going to click Continue to Mockups. We can see here we've got the front of the book, we've got the back of the book, and we've got some inside pages as well. I'm going to leave it here on the front one to be the primary. Just going to check my sizes here, 28 by 28 centimeters, 11 by 11, that's correct. And now I'm going to continue to my details. Now, if you were listing this on Etsy or your own website, this is an opportunity for you to title your book, and then you've got a great description underneath that's pre-populated. So you can modify this as needed. I'm going to go up here to continue to prices. And we can see here the retail price, it suggests the product costs and then the shipping costs. Now I do want to point out, it says up here, preview your cost in euros. So I'm just going to switch this. I happen to be based in Canada. So we're going to see here the product cost, $38.78. And the shipping costs, that gets me a profit margin of about 50%. I'm going to click Continue to Review. Okay, now I'm all done here, and I'm going to click Save Template up in the top right. So this is now sitting inside my Gelato website underneath templates. So you could create these products, and then you can either add to your store or you could place an order. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to place an order. Now it's going to open up the template, and I can see it here. I've got my number of pages is 60. My size is 11 by 11. I can do one last check through and make sure that all my pages are filled with something that looks great. And now I'm going to click Add to Order. Okay, and then one last chance here. I'm just going to double check. I've got a good looking thumbnail there. I'm going to click on it. It's going to pop open. Okay, that looks really good. And then I'm going to go up here to continue to shipping. Okay, and for where I live, Purelator is going to be the carrier. I'm just going to use the regular one here, and I'm going to continue to payment. I think overall for a 60-page hardcover book, $50 Canadian is a great deal. I'm going to continue to payment, and let's take a look when this book arrives. Let's check it out in person and see what the quality's like. Wow, this hardcover book did not disappoint. It's 11 inches by 11 inches, which is a great size for a coffee table book. The cover is a matte finish, so it's not glossy at all, and I personally really like that. I think it looks quite classy. It's also a nice weight. The cover itself is pretty thick, and the pages especially are very thick. The pictures and the text that I added are crystal clear. I absolutely love the printing process. Now, the one thing I would probably have done differently, if I could go back in time, I made most of the pages white with black text, and then just for fun, I made a few pages black with white text, and I like the black pages more. So I think the black pages with white text are just gorgeous and really make the book feel even more expensive and elegant. So it's a personal preference, of course. Overall, though, I'm really, really happy with the look and the feel of this book. It's big and weighty enough to feel expensive, but it's not so big that it's unwieldy. I think it's a great size to put on a coffee table and enjoy. I really hope you enjoyed this walkthrough of how to make a book in Gelato, as well as a review of the physical product. I highly recommend Gelato, and there's a link in the video description below, so make sure to check it out. Here's another video that highlights the cool features inside of Gelato.